Cobb had spent the last hour invoicing clients and telling me in general terms the nature of their cases. To my knowledge, Cobb did not play the violin. There was, however, a bit of similarity between Watson and me. Although Holmes' companion was a doctor and I had spent most of my adult life as a crime writer, first for the Calgary Herald and as a freelancer for the last several years, the fact was that, like Watson, I was something of a chronicler of the cases Cobb and I had worked on. I was at that time working on a couple of articles I hoped to shop to magazines, articles that recounted the details of our recent investigation into the violent deaths of a number of right-wing media luminaries. That was the reason my computer sat at the ready on a small table in one corner of Cobb's second-floor space on the corner of 12th Avenue and 1st Street West in the Beltline, an elder statesman among Calgary neighborhoods. "You're about to have company," I said, not looking away from the street or the young woman, who had clearly favored denim when she'd been making the day's fashion decisions. I was confident of the correctness of my assertion because at that moment, Cobb was the only tenant of the building, all the others having been temporarily evacuated while renovations were taking place. I'd asked him how it was that a private detective was not inconvenienced with having to vacate his office when other firms with more office space and several actual employees had been. Cobb had smiled as he told me that as soon as the building manager had mentioned Cobb might have to leave the building for a couple of weeks, Cobb made as if to begin the packing process, pulling several firearms from his closet and setting them on his desk. The manager, apparently not certain whether the weapons were part of the move or had been taken from the closet for some other purpose, decided that Cobb's office looked okay as it is and backed out the door with considerable dispatch. "Male or female?" Cobb asked, without looking up from his own computer. "Decidedly female," I told him. "And you know she's coming here because A, there's bugger all else on this side of the street, B, she keeps looking up here as she gets closer, and C, she's now entering the front door." Ah, that last one's a real giveaway. He closed up his computer in an apparent attempt to look more detective-like for the new arrival, and had just completed that task when the knock came at the door. I turned away from the window, crossed the office, my slippery city shoes, as Ian Tyson called them, drumming on the aged hardwood, and opened the door. My closer look at the young woman confirmed what I had been fairly certain of from my window view of her. Though the September wind had done her mid-back-length blonde hair no favors, she was striking. Young, 20-ish, I guessed, and striking. "Is this the office of Michael Cobb, private detective?" she said in a voice that was breathy but firm. My first impression of her was that she was no nonsense. "It is," I said, and stepped back to allow her to move into the office. She stepped inside and Cobb stood up to greet her. There was a momentary a look of confusion on the young woman's face as she looked from me to Cobb and back at me. I gestured in Cobb's direction to allay further confusion. "I'm Mike Cobb," he said, "and this is my associate, Adam Cullen. Please have a seat." Cobb indicated a brown leather chair that, until I'd stretched my legs by moving on to the window, had been my spot. I took a new position on a hard-backed, hard-seated, cloth-covered thing that offered a comfort level equal to that of a church pew. When she was settled into her chair, Cobb looked at the young woman. "What is it you think I can help you with, Ms. Brill? Monica Brill. Would you care for a cup of coffee, Ms. Brill?" She shook her head, sat forward in the chair, and looked at Cobb with eyes that confirmed my earlier assessment. She was all business. "I'm interested in hiring a private detective, but I need someone who does more than spy on wayward spouses in divorce cases." She wasn't smiling. Cobb was. "I won't lie, Ms. Brill. I did a few of those back in the day, but haven't for a long time. I'm an ex-cop. Worked robbery for a few years, homicide for a few more." She nodded, then looked over at me, eyebrows lifted. "That's what my research indicated. Your partner does the divorce work now?" "Neither of us does, actually," Cobb said, as she turned back to him. "Mr. Cullen, as I mentioned, my associate. We occasionally work together. Mr. Cullen is particularly